The Manhattan District Attorney's Office is likely to criminally charge the Trump Organization and also the chief financial officer for the Trump Organization, David Weisselberg. Now, Trump himself, and this is important, is unlikely to be charged criminally. And this has to do with possible tax crimes. And so when you read the details of what the district attorney's office is going after the Trump Organization for, it honestly does raise a few eyebrows because this is an investigation that's been going on for years. So if this is what they're coming out with, I'm a little worried that there might not be much in terms of wrongdoing by the Trump Organization. So let me make my case, let me give you the details. So as I mentioned, Trump himself isn't expected to be charged, his lawyer said. Weisselberg has rejected prosecutors' attempts at gaining his cooperation. So the CFO, Weisselberg, is not in any way cooperating with the investigation. So it's unlikely that, if he is criminally charged and he is found guilty of wrongdoing, he's not going to be able to take advantage of some sort of plea deal. Now, is that David Weisselberg? Never knew what he looked like. Okay, David Weisselberg, there you have it, folks. The Trump Organization and Weisselberg are expected to face charges related to allegedly evading taxes on fringe benefits. This is where it gets important, guys. Pay close attention. Evading taxes on fringe benefits. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office and New York State Attorney General's Office have been investigating whether Weisselberg and other employees illegally avoided paying taxes on perks, such as cars, apartments, and private school tuition that they received from the Trump Organization. So this is about evading taxes. If we're talking about evading taxes on, let's say, a cash bonus, then yeah, there's criminal wrongdoing there. But if you're gifted a car, and you don't pay taxes on that, is that considered criminal? I mean, it just seems like they're really reaching here. And I'm just being clear. I'm being honest with you guys about what we know so far about this investigation. And by the way, through the continued investigation, is there a possibility that they find actual significant and serious wrongdoing? Sure, but what they've come out with right now isn't really looking good for anyone who was hoping that Donald Trump would be held accountable for all the other financial crimes that he kind of brazenly would talk about, right? So let me give you more details. It's not clear who received the bonuses within the Trump Organization, which were likely paid by check or through a wire, or how much they totaled. Now, investigators are also looking at benefits given to other top executives, including Matthew Calamari, the chief operating officer of the company, and his son, CNN has reported. The two men who received cars and apartments are not expected to be charged in the initial indictments, but they remain under scrutiny by prosecutors. Okay, so lawyers for Trump, and this is the important part, lawyers for Trump and his company tried to persuade prosecutors not to charge the Trump Organization, arguing that charging a company over fringe benefits or employee compensation was unheard of. Former prosecutors say it is rare to charge an individual or company for failure to pay taxes on employee benefits alone, although such charges are used as part of larger cases. So that's important. There is some likelihood that this is just the beginning, and the prosecutors here are trying to build a case by starting off by attempting to prove that there was some tax evasion going on. But again, the question is, what form of tax evasion? Like, is it just that these employees were gifted cars and they didn't report it? And to be quite honest with you, if TYT, and this is like a laughable thing to ever even consider because it would never happen. But if TYT gifted me a car, I wouldn't think to pay taxes on that car. I just wouldn't. It wouldn't even cross my mind. Am I a criminal? Now, if TYT paid me cash under the table and I did not report those earnings to the IRS, then I am evading taxes, right? I think that's pretty obvious and pretty clear. So if the prosecutors really have a shot at proving these criminal charges, they would have to show evidence that there were cash bonuses that Trump Organization employees did not pay taxes on. But like, for a 2 to 3 year investigation, for this to be what comes out, I just think it's weak sauce. It's Definitely weak sauce. Let me give you more. So I just gave you the statement from Trump's lawyers. But it's not just Trump lawyers. There's also legal experts who have weighed in on this and they're like, this seems a little weird. So tax lawyers have said it's unusual to see a criminal case brought for failing to pay taxes on perks such as an apartment or company car. Usually, they say, those kinds of issues are handled with civil settlements and penalties. One tax lawyer said cash payments can cross the line into criminal activity, and that's true. So who knows? Maybe there is evidence of a lot of people getting paid under the table and evading taxes. And if that's the case, they should face the consequences for it. But for all intents and purposes right now, what it appears is they don't have much on Trump, which is a little frustrating because his own former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, testified under oath and had this fascinating exchange with AOC. Let's watch.
To your knowledge, did the president ever provide inflated assets to an insurance company?
Yes.
Who else knows that the president did this?
Alan Weisselberg, Ron Lieberman, and Matthew Calamari.
And where would the committee find more information on this? Do you think we need to review his financial statements and his tax returns in order to compare them?
Yes, and you'd find it at the Trump org.
Mr. Cohen, I want to ask you about your assertion that the president may have improperly devalued his assets to avoid paying taxes. According to an August 21st, 2016 report by the Washington Post, while the president claimed in financial disclosure forms that Trump National Golf Club in Jupiter, Florida was worth more than $50 million, he had reported otherwise to local tax authorities that the course was worth, quote, no more than $5 million. Mr. Cohen, do you know whether this specific report is accurate?
It's identical to what he did at Trump National Golf Club at Briarcliff Manor.
Do you know, to your knowledge, was the president interested in reducing his local real estate bills, tax bills?
Yes.
And how did he do that?
What you do is you deflate the value of the asset and then you put in a request to the tax department for a deduction.
So that is what kind of tipped off prosecutors in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and I think it makes sense to do the investigation. But so far, the outcome of this investigation doesn't really show any serious crime. I mean, certainly not something to the point that would incriminate Donald Trump specifically, which is why he is not likely to be criminally charged yet. But this could be the beginning of other criminal charges. This could be part of a larger criminal case. Obviously, I can't predict that, but it seems like there's a possibility that that's the direction this investigation is headed in. I also want to correct myself. I referred to the chief financial officer as David Weisselberg. I'm not sure why, but his name is Alan Weisselberg. So I wanted to make that correction and make sure to correct the record on that. But as this story develops, we'll give you details if there's anything significant. As it stands right now, to be completely fair and honest, because that's important, this seems like a bit of a nothing burger.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.